You've been loyal to the same hairstyle for years, and somewhere deep down, you already sense it's not doing you any favors anymore. Nobody told you. Your stylist kept quiet. Your friends were too polite. And every morning you walk past that mirror with a quiet little ache you can't quite name. I research worst style and beauty mistakes and youth-boosting fixes for mature women, so you get simple, proven transformations that work instantly. Today we're perfecting these hairstyles are aging you. 5 rejuvenating cuts that make older women look younger after 65. And by part 3, you'll want to pause and look in the mirror. I mean it. We're covering 5 hairstyles that are quietly stealing years from your face, and 5 specific rejuvenating cuts to replace each one. Part 2 alone contains the most requested fix I've ever shared. Subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, so you never miss a transformation like this one. And the very first hairstyle? I see it on nearly every woman who walks through a salon door after 65. Let's go. 1. The heavy one-length curtain and the soft layered bob. You have been wearing the same length for so long it stopped being a choice and became a habit. That heavy one-length curtain of hair, all one weight, falling straight down past your chin with no movement, no lift, no shape. It feels safe. It feels familiar. But here is what it is actually doing to your face every single morning. Weight drags. That is physics, not opinion. When hair sits as one solid unbroken mass against your cheeks, it pulls the eye downward. And downward is the direction your face has been fighting against for the past decade. That weight line landing right at your jaw is the single most aging placement any woman over 65 can wear. Here is the fix your bone structure has been waiting for. The soft layered bob. Not a blunt bob. Not a helmet bob. A soft, interior layered bob where the weight is removed from the outer perimeter and redistributed through the midlengths, allowing the hair to curve gently inward and upward at the jaw rather than dragging it down. Honestly, the difference between a blunt bob and a soft layered bob on a woman over 65 is the difference between looking tired and looking like you just came back from a holiday. That is how dramatic it is. If you are still wearing the blunt one-length cut, swap it for a soft layered bob with interior point cut ends. The difference is immediate and the maintenance is minimal. Ask your stylist specifically for interior layering, not surface layering. That single instruction changes everything about how the finished cut moves and lifts. Your maintenance tip for this cut. Have your stylist trim the perimeter every 8 weeks and refresh the interior layers every 12. That rhythm keeps the softness without losing the shape. This is the one that made a woman in my community stop mid-sentence during a dinner and ask her friend what changed about her. Nothing changed except the weight line. That is all it took. Coming up in part 2, we are talking about the style that ages women the fastest above the ears, and the one surprising cut that fixes it without losing any length at all. 2. The tight permed helmet and the textured silver shag. Have you ever wondered why your hairstyle looks perfectly fine in the salon mirror and somehow wrong everywhere else? This is the part where we talk about that. Because the tight permed helmet, that dense, uniform curl pattern sitting like a rounded cap from crown to ear, is the most requested fix I receive, and the least talked about mistake in the entire beauty industry for women over 65. Here is the truth nobody says out loud. Tight uniform curl patterns flatten the crown, widen the sides, and create a silhouette that fights every elegant bone structure you have spent decades developing. It is not your fault. It was sold to women of your generation as the low-maintenance answer. But low maintenance and youth boosting are not the same thing. The rejuvenating replacement is the textured silver shag. This cut uses long layers starting at the crown, cascading through the midlengths with soft feathered ends that sit light rather than dense. The crown stays lifted. The sides move rather than sitting. And because the layers are long and open rather than tight and uniform, your face shape finally has room to be seen. Yes, that simple. The textured silver shag works whether your natural texture is fine, medium, or has changed since your last color treatment. The key is in the layering technique. Your stylist must use a razor or point cut finish rather than blunt scissor cuts. Blunt cuts seal the ends and create that helmet effect all over again. Open point cut or razor ends are what allow movement and air to live in the style. If you are still wearing the tight permed helmet, swap it for a textured silver shag with open point cut ends. And ask your stylist to remove density at the sides while keeping volume at the crown. That placement is everything. Maintenance for this cut is straightforward. A light refresh every 10 weeks focusing on the ends, and a deep conditioning mask every 2 weeks to keep the open layers moving freely rather than frizzing at the tips. There is one detail about crown volume that most women over 65 never hear from their stylists, and part 3 is entirely dedicated to it. 3. The flat crown long layer and the graduated crown cut. Your crown is the first thing people see when you walk toward them. Not your eyes. Not your cheekbones. Not your smile. Your crown. And if your hair is lying flat there, weighed down by long layers that start too low, or too much length pulling everything downward, the entire visual story of your face starts on the wrong note. The flat crown long layer is a cut that sounds youthful and feels familiar. Long, romantic, flowing. It reads beautifully in a magazine. But on hair over 65 that has lost natural density at the root zone, those long layers create a draped effect rather than a lifted one. The length wins. The face loses. Here is what changes everything. Crown graduation. A graduated crown cut uses shorter layers at the very top of the head. Not so short that you lose elegance, but short enough that the hair at the crown stands away from the scalp rather than lying against it. Below the crown, the length and movement you love are completely preserved. This is the one technique that changes how your entire face reads in a room. And it takes your stylist exactly one extra 10-minute step during your next appointment. The swap is direct. If you are currently wearing long flat layers with no crown support, ask for crown graduation with the layers beginning no lower than 2 inches from the top of the head. Preserve the mid-length and the ends. Touch only the crown zone. The visual result is lifted eyes, a longer neck, and a face that reads 10 years more rested without changing a single other thing about your look. Maintenance for a graduated crown cut is the most important detail. The crown graduation softens fastest and must be refreshed every 6 to 8 weeks. If you wait 12 weeks, the lift collapses back and you lose the entire effect. That timing is everything. Your bone structure has been asking for this lift for years. Now it finally gets it. Part 4 is going to address the one length that nearly every woman over 65 is told to avoid, and exactly why that advice has been wrong the whole time. 4. The blunt chin bob and the face-framing textured lob. Bold truth. There is one haircut that is silently aging more women over 65 than any other style on this list. And it is not the one most people expect. The blunt chin bob. Clean. Geometric. Perfectly level at the jaw. It photographs beautifully. Stylists love to recommend it because it is easy to cut and looks polished in a before and after. But on your face, with your specific jaw placement, and the natural softening that happens to the lower face after 65, a blunt line at the chin is essentially a frame that points directly at the one zone you want to draw attention away from. The face framing textured lob changes that entirely. A lob, a long bob that falls between the jaw and the collarbone, with face framing layers cut specifically to draw the eye upward toward the cheekbones and eyes rather than landing on the jaw. The ends are not blunt. They are point cut or razor finished, so the line dissolves rather than cuts. Here is the thing nobody told you. Length past the chin does not age you. Wrong length past the chin ages you. The lob at collarbone level, with face framing front layers, is one of the most universally flattering lengths for women over 65 regardless of face shape or hair texture. If you are still wearing the blunt chin bob, swap it for a face-framing textured lob at collarbone length with dissolved point cut ends. Ask your stylist to add 2 or 3 face-framing layers starting at the cheekbone, not below it. Those layers are the entire secret. Maintenance here is relaxed. Trim the perimeter every 10 to 12 weeks and ask for a face-framing layer refresh every second visit. The collarbone length grows gracefully, so you never feel like you are chasing a shape. This is the cut that made a woman tell me she felt visible again for the first time in years. Your natural elegance has been there the whole time. The right length just finally lets it show. Part 5 brings everything together with the one finishing cut that makes every other style in this video land even better. And it is probably the one you have never heard your stylist mention. 5. The shapeless grown-out pixie and the soft tapered pixie with crown volume. Most women end up here by accident. The pixie that was once sharp and chic has grown out 2, 3, maybe 4 months past its shape date. The sides have gone flat. The crown has lost its lift. The nape has started to curl in an unintended direction. And instead of the confident, elegant short style it once was, it now reads as a cut that simply lost the plot. Here is the thing. This is not a hair problem. This is a timing and technique problem. The shapeless grown-out pixie is the most common short hair mistake I see on women over 65, and it happens to the best-maintained women in the room. Shape requires maintenance on a specific schedule, and most stylists never explain that to their clients. The soft tapered pixie with crown volume is the version of this cut that keeps working for you every single day between appointments. The sides are kept short and clean through tapering rather than blunt cutting. This means the grow-out is graceful rather than boxy. The crown carries deliberate graduation so the top lifts away from the scalp. The nape is shaped with a soft taper rather than a hard line, so even as it grows it retains elegance. Honestly, this is the cut I wish every woman over 65 who loves short hair had been given the first time instead of discovering it after years of frustration. If you are wearing the shapeless grown-out version right now, swap it for a soft tapered pixie with crown graduation and a dissolved nape taper. 2 things to tell your stylist: taper the sides rather than blunt cutting them, and graduate the crown starting 2 inches from the hairline. Maintenance for this cut is the most time-specific of everything we covered today. Every 5 to 6 weeks without exception. 6 weeks on a tapered pixie is the point where shape starts to soften. 7 weeks is where it starts to lose its story. Get back in the chair at 5. You needed to hear this. You have just walked through every hairstyle that was quietly working against your face, and 5 specific, beautiful replacements that work with everything time has given you. The next part brings it all home. You just learned the 5 hairstyles that age women most after 65, and the 5 rejuvenating cuts that replace each one with something that honors your natural elegance, your bone structure, and your beautiful eyes. Most women spend years figuring this out through trial and error. You just skipped all of that. Boom. Your bone structure was always this stunning. Now it shows. Tell me in the comments, which of these 5 hairstyles have you been wearing without realizing it was working against you? I read every single one. Next time, we are covering the 1 color mistake that makes silver and gray hair look dull instead of luminous, and the 2-step fix that changes everything. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.